Olney here. An old war veteran friend of mine with a very long memory suggested that a casual acquaintance of mine, Jane Fonda, be forced after death to wear the chains she forged in life, as Ebenezer Scrooge's partner Jacob Marley was forced to do. This, my friend decided, was the most horrible punishment possible. And that's at least what she deserved. Okay, Fonda made mistakes in her life, for sure. I guess I have too, and maybe you have as well. But is she really important enough to drive us, especially we combat veterans, to a long-lasting loathing? Isn't it a little silly to have Jane Fonda, middle-class movie actress, burned into our memories? Do you realize that many kids in middle school don't even recognize her name anymore? Try them if you don't believe me. Who is Jane Fonda to have become so very important to us, especially to we veterans? Let's look at this. Fonda did go to North Vietnam during that horrible and hopeless conflict many years ago, and she did pose on a gun seat with the soldiers of a nation that was fighting us and killing our young men and women. I had lunch with Jane and her husband at that time, Tom Hayden, soon after her return from that ill-conceived visit, and even she then was wavering. Later she publicly agreed that it was a bad decision and apologized, not for her belief that the terrible war was wrong, but for using her celebrity to visit the enemy. For most people that would have been enough, but for some reason many vets to this day swear their everlasting hatred for this rather modest celebrity because of this minor event, truly insignificant in the big picture. Most of us are reasonable people. We may not like something that another has done, but if they come to us and say they're sorry, we most often say, okay, forget it. We put pure hatred aside and move on, but not with Jane. I liked her as we enjoyed our lunch. She comes across in person as a real American who was voicing her opinion about a war that was only then becoming unpopular, as only Americans are permitted to do. Yes, she was concerned about posing on the weapons of an enemy, but she was desperately trying to make a point before other thousands of young Americans died. That's about all she did, by the way. The other things vets accuse her of doing on that misguided visit continue to grow and multiply and become more and more hateful every year. The thing is, even though I strongly disagree with what she did, sitting on that weapon, I must confess I agree with why she did it. I agreed why she did it even back then. But I wasn't important enough to reach the multitudes she was able to reach. She was a young woman of strong mind who made a mistake in her very strict anti-war policies and then later recanted. Hey, we're friends with Vietnam now, so I suggest we just drop Jane as a young crusader with modest influence who went too far and who has paid for it ever since. Please remember that Marley wore the heavy chains because he didn't repent, as Fonda did. And please, you other combat vets, don't hate me for suggesting that we drop this well-worn loathing. Hey, thanks for